Obtaining citizenship in Serbia is one of the biggest topics that we see from our clients. And the time frame of obtaining citizenship can be from a couple months all the way up to many years, and sometimes clients don't ever get citizenship. But in this video today, we're going to cover all the time zones and time frames that will take you to obtain citizenship here in Serbia, depending on the pathway that you're going to get to that citizenship. Now, the world is becoming a very unrealistic and pretty crazy place to be living in these days, and a lot of people are looking for a plan B, a plan C, and so on and so forth. And a lot of people are looking to obtain citizenship here in Serbia, which is something that we help our clients with. And as we go through these scenarios here in this video, we help with every single one of these aspects depending on what pathway you take. And I'm going to start off with the longest one, and that is typically for the ones that have no ties to Serbia. And a lot of the clients that we work with that are foreigners coming to live here and obtaining a residency and eventually looking to obtain that citizenship here on a longer term basis. Now, if you have a shorter time frame, which is what I'm going to cover in this video, you're not going to require to live in Serbia if you obtain citizenship right away. But if you're one of these first ones that are looking for that long-term path, you're going to, of course, have to open up a business here to obtain temporary residency, purchase a property to obtain temporary residency, and then go through the processes of temporary residency, permanent residency, and then, of course, citizenship. Now, how long does it take for you to obtain citizenship through naturalization, which this process is? You have no ties here. You have no economic value, essentially, even though you're setting up a business. This time frame can be as little as 6 years. Now, that is the earliest we've seen many of our clients obtain it through naturalization. They're going to have to do their 3 years of temporary residency. And then after that, you switch over to permanent residency. Of course, in the first 3 years, you're going to have to be here for at least 183 days to make sure that you become a tax resident here and you stay in compliance. Now, that 183 can be variant depending on if you have a business here and you are required to go out of country on business trips, and that's something that we can advise you on your specific business structure. But after 3 years of temporary residency, then you become a permanent resident. And at that point, you can be out of the country more often than not. As long as you are not out of the country for 2 consecutive years, you will maintain your permanent residency here. After 3 years of permanent residency, you can then at that point apply for citizenship here in Serbia. Now, citizenship isn't going to be guaranteed to you at 6 years. You know, it could be depending on what you've accomplished here in Serbia. Did you, purchase a house and set up a business and, do things in the best interest of Serbia? Did you get into nonprofits? Did you organize some sort of events? That's all gonna apply when you're giving your letter of recommendation of applying for citizenship here. But we've seen even some clients who have been here for 12 years, and at the 12-year mark, they have at that point been naturalized as citizens. It's up to the government when and if they will approve you for citizenship. It has nothing with us. we can obviously get the best package put together for you as a submission to the government for your citizenship, but it's up to them when you get it. Now, that is the longest term basis, which typically has at least a 6-year window and a long road ahead, if ever, right? Now, the next one could be after 3 years. And so a lot of our clients get confused that after 3 years that you can apply for citizenship through naturalization. Now, there's only one rule that this applies to, and that rule is that if you are married to a Serbian citizen, so if you have a husband or your wife is Serbian citizen, you have to still go through your 3 years of temporary residency. You then have to apply for your permanent residency, and once you obtain your permanent residency, at that point you can then apply for citizenship, and we're seeing clients get their citizenship within 6 months of applying based on being married to a Serbian citizen at that point. So that is the only basis. Now, if you are looking to do the first option, you can by all means apply once you obtain Serbian citizenship through naturalization without being married to a Serbian citizen. However, we've not seen one application approved yet. It's typically after 3 years of permanent residency. So naturalization, minimum 6 years. Being married to a Serbian citizen, 4 years on average at most that we're seeing. And now we have the other one. So the two fast track options that we're seeing a lot of our clients going after are either Serbian citizenship by descent or Serbian citizenship by merit. Both of those can be obtained within 3 months, 6 months, sometimes 10 months, depending on if you are registered here. If you're going under the descent route, one of the factors that really determines if you're going to be getting it at 3 months or 10 months is that if you were registered in Serbia by your parents here. So your parents had you, could be here in Serbia, could be out of the country. But if your parents registered your birth here in Serbia, but you never obtained citizenship, and then, 20 years, 30 years later, you're like, hey, I want to obtain my Serbian citizenship by descent, you can apply for your citizenship and typically get it approved within 3 months because it's already registered. Now, if you are not registered here in Serbia, that is when it'll take longer, up to 10 months, depending on how many applicants. Again, this also will determine how long. So we're seeing a lot more applicants. So originally when I applied here in Serbia many years ago for my citizenship by descent, I was not registered here, but there was not many people actually applying for the Serbian citizenship by descent program, and I was able to obtain mine in 2.5 months. Now we are seeing people many years later that are actually going for this program, and they're getting pushed out to 10 months because they have to research all the paperwork that we're submitting in. At the same time, the thing that's going to also determine how long it is going to be approved is how far back are we going on documentation of your descent. So if you're going based on your parents, which is something that I did, it's only one generation they got to look back. But if you're going through your grandparents or your great-grandparents, that can push things out that much longer, because what you have to do is actually prove lineage that you have descent here. So obtaining documentation from your great-grandparents is going to be very difficult to do, because we're talking about old documents, right? Do they even have those in the register these days, or are those obsolete? And then you also have to then get it for your grandparents, your parents, and they all have to be valid in a certain appointed time. Plus, there's a number of other documents that you have to obtain to be able to apply for citizenship by descent. So that's the big one. That one is one of the fast track options as well. The other one that we're seeing is Serbian citizenship by merit. Now, the program that we typically are doing is either by business or investment into something here in Serbia. There are other merit programs also, but we're typically seeing the ones we do are done in about 90 days. But that also is up to the government officials, and there is no set amount. There's no actual price tag on there. This is all case by case basis. This is not like a public program where you have in Vanuatu, St. Kitts, where you just pay a certain money and you obtain that citizenship. So that's one of the things we have to also keep in mind. Now, I want to backtrack real quick. When we're looking at citizenship by descent, descent also doesn't mean that your relatives have to be born in Serbia. Remember, many years ago, Serbia was Yugoslavia, right? We had Croatia, we had Bosnia, we had a bunch of other countries in a part of Yugoslavia. Now, you could have parents that were born in Croatia, but they were registered as Serbian citizens, or their nationality was Serbian. So you can still apply for citizenship here in Serbia as long as your parents were registered as Serbian citizens, even though they were born in Croatia or in Bosnia or any of the other former Yugoslav countries. And so everything is case by case. I strongly recommend that if any of you are interested in obtaining Serbian citizenship, that you do book in a consultation with us so that we can speak with you to look at what your case is, to see what documents we can fetch. If you are looking to come into the country to obtain citizenship, or if you're looking to do this before you come into the country, which is something a lot of the clients don't realize, is that they can actually apply for citizenship here without being in the country. We have various ways that we can do that. And if they're looking to move a year or two from now and looking to obtain citizenship, we can start that process, wait for approval, and then when you do end up moving here, that you are able to obtain it right away. Now, just because you obtain citizenship does not make you an instant tax resident here. So it doesn't matter if you're getting it by naturalization, if you're getting it by descent, or if you're getting it by merit. Does not automatically make you a tax resident. Of course, if you're going through the naturalization path, you will already be a tax resident here because you have to maintain your 183 days. And then depending on how you play out your permanent residency, you may or may not be a tax resident at that point, but that does not mean that you cannot apply at that point either. So those are things that I wanted to wrap up in this video, since this program is something that is one of the top tier items that we're seeing from our clients from all around the world looking to obtain. And if you're looking to do so, feel free to reach out to us.